Welcome to From the Forest. Today we're going to show you how to install RWP, or real wood plank peel and stick hardwood floors. RWP features a peel and stick backing that can be applied on all grade levels, above radiant heat, and on multiple different surface levels, including concrete and plywood. You want to make sure that your floors are swept or vacuum cleaned to eliminate as much dust as possible. In order to ensure a secure bond with our VacuBond backing, we recommend using our universal primer to make sure all extra dust is eliminated. If you're installing your floors below grade or on a high moisture surface, we recommend using our membrane moisture barrier. For this installation, we've got a dry, clean surface, so all we need is the primer and a simple paint roller. Applying the primer is fast and simple. All you have to do is shake it really well. Once you have finished thoroughly shaking your primer, simply pour the primer in the far corner of the room. And pour yourself a little puddle. I'll see you when this is finished. Now that the primer is dry, we're ready to start installing the floor. We need to measure one board's width away from the wall plus 1/4 inch. In order to get that 1/4 inch, I took another piece and cut a small chunk of wood out of it. We'll take the board and put this extra piece next to it. This width is now 1/4 inch away from the board. Next, you'll take a marker and mark your floor. We'll do the same thing on the other side of the room. After you've put down your chalk line, start with a full board with the tongue facing the wall and line up the inside of the board with the edge of the chalk line. Next, start your second line with a half board, tongue facing the wall, going into the groove of the first board. For the third board, continue with row 2. Use a full board. With my next full board, I'm going to continue back on row 1. Now we're going to continue installing the first 2 rows by staggering the boards until we reach the next wall. In order to make the last board of your wall fit, simply place it sideways up against the wall with the groove facing in. See where it lands and mark about 1/4 inch in from that spot on the board. Once you've finished installing the first 2 rows, it's important to walk across the boards to push out the extra air and ensure you've got your soft vacuum seal. To make sure you have a professionally installed look, you want to make sure your flooring is installed at random lengths. Cut your third board to be 2/3 of the length of the full board before it. Now we're coming into the easy part. Once you finish the first 2 rows, you can lay down the rest of the floor. We recommend that when you lay down your next row, you simply step on it once and push it towards the rows before it to lock it into the groove. Now you simply continue installing the floor until you get to the last row. Make sure to always have the tongue facing in. Make sure that your end to the previous board is pushed up flush before you drop your board. And make sure you mark your cuts at the end of the wall. We'll see you at the end of the project. It's been a little bit over an hour and we're almost done with this 260 square foot room. We're down to laying our last row of full boards. For this row, I'm gonna stay standing on the floor and still keep the tongue facing in towards the boards. This time they're facing me. We've finished laying our last full board. As you can see, we have some space left for flooring that will not fit a full board. So we need to measure where to cut the next row of boards. I'm gonna take a measuring tape and measure from the wall to the edge of the board. Here it's showing 2.5 inches. It's important to take your measuring tape and check a few places along the wall to see how wide you need to cut your boards. Now that I've checked multiple places along the wall, it looks like everything's at 2.5 inches. I'm now gonna mark my board at 2.5 inches, making sure we keep the tongue side of the board and go cut it with my saw. After you measure your board, you wanna put the tongue side against the fence for your saw and you can start to cut. Now that I've ripped my boards on the table saw, I'm gonna take my boards and a crowbar just in case I need a little leverage since the wall is gonna be really tight to this one. Before we apply this final row, make sure the tongue side is facing in towards the floor. We're ready to put in the last board. We hope you enjoy the easiest flooring installation in existence. Congrats on your new floor. Congratulations on installing your new RWP floor. As always, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to us here at From the Forest. Enjoy!
Sit. Good catch.